What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Coach T with Chicago Bears 360 back with another live for y'all, man. Listen, I'm glad to be back on a new platform, thanks to the advice of some of my friends. Hopefully, y'all can hear me. We got a special guest joining us today, my man, Will Wright, Chicago Bears insider. So much to discuss, man. The second act, can Justin Fields, Luke Getsy, and this offense pull it together for the second half of the season? Can they bring us together and pull out a few wins? Will his coaching staff stay in place? What are we doing with the offensive line? Who stays in the wide receiver core, right? What should we do at the running back position? So much to discuss and so much more on Chicago Bears 360 with Coach T. Hang out with us, man. Y'all know how we do it on the show, man. We got to do the show right. We got to try to be.
We will be perfect in every aspect of the game. You drop a pass, you run a mile. You miss a blocking assignment, you run a mile. You fumble the football, and I will break my foot off in your John Brown hind parts. And then you will run a mile. Perfection.
Because we got my man Will Wright on the show, Chicago Bears insider. Do me a favor as y'all can, man. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, man. Let everybody know you on Chicago Bears 360 with Coach T and Will Wright, man. Give them your app, man. Tell us where they can find you. Tell the people where they can find you and all about yourself, Will.
Look, they can find me on Twitter, Will Wright 06, on Instagram, Will Wright 34. Like I said, at the end of the day, like, we signed up for this thing through the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we locked in and we ready to rock and roll.
That's what's up, man. I appreciate the positive outlook on it, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. I'm gonna tell y'all straight up what it is, bro. Coach T be trying to do too much. I got all the fancy graphics and all the other stuff that I was trying to bring over from my old show, man. But I gotta slowly, like Luke Getsy, I should have slowly ramped myself up into this new platform instead of trying throwing all my trinkets together all at once. But you know what I'm saying? Word to the wise, man. So listen, man, we gonna delay anymore. We're going to jump straight into it. I want to start and kind of work our way back on the show. And again, this is the second act for Justin Fields. Luke, Will got some inside scoop for us on, whether he believes, Justin Fields will actually start. And we're going to actually be at the game this Sunday, Will. But you got some scoop for us about Justin Fields, man. Let the people have it.
Hey, Justin about to come in starting against Detroit, and he about to light this thing up. Everybody's been talking. They already done started the pre-draft analysis, whether we should take Caleb Williams, whether we should take Drake May. And quite frankly, we're not taking neither, because what people fail to realize, and this is the argument I have all the time, year one under Matt Nagy, like, it was dysfunctional. Then you go to year two, last year, the tear down, the rebuild, to the studs. I'm talking about Justin was the best player on the offense and defense. The line was atrocious. The skilled players couldn't catch a cold buck naked in the North Pole. So everything centered around Justin last year. So in the midst of not having the proper talent, resources, he was learning, again, another system under Luke Getsy. So now we fast forward to year three. He gets injured, but prior to him getting injured, against Washington, he lit it up. Against Denver, he lit it up. And as you know, as a coach, at the end of the day, it's about, I don't care how talented the player is, because people always say, I listen to Mullen and Hall, I listen to Dan Woodard, I listen to, all the different Chicago media outlets, and you can hear in the tone that they're ready to transition from Justin. But at the end of the day, if I look up the street and over at Ford Field, where the lines have given us the blueprint, which in reality, and you know this, I'm preaching to the choir. This is how you win, sustain, and have sustained success. You got to build out the trenches.
Right.
Like, let's be honest.
Listen, you say
have we truly?
You say I know, but I need the people to hear somebody else say it for once, because I'm, you know what I'm saying. My audience is always used to hearing me say things, but also, You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with a healthy debate, some slight disagreement, to hear from a different perspective. But I want to take a step back because I want to take a step back in what you're saying. So you fully expect Justin to play this Sunday in Detroit, where we'll actually be in the city for the Chicago Bears takeover. So if y'all gonna be in the building, link up with me and your boy Will, because we're gonna be in the spot. You expecting him to play on Sunday?
I expect him to play. We're gonna be in the Wild 100s representing. I'm
That's
already
right.
in the mix
We
right
all we
now.
do. Listen now. Listen. Do what you do now. Do what you do now. See, Will just called out the Wild 100s, and you know what I'm saying. We don't want to isolate nobody, but you know where they can catch us at. We gonna be in the Wild 100. We gonna be in the 100 section. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
it.
133, 126. Holla at us. Go ahead, man.
Yeah.
I just had to throw that in there.
Yeah, you have to, because ultimately you want to get that full experience. Win, lose, or draw. We're gonna be in the building. It's gonna be full of excitement. We're gonna have a good time. You know, we're gonna bring the energy that's going to be infectious for them to feel, because ultimately, so many people, it baffles me. Because as a fan, regardless of what, you still have to fan in a positive perspective. It's okay to have, like you said, disagreements and disputes, but in order to say that you're committed, it's like having a wife or a girlfriend. You just can't walk away from because y'all got into an argument, y'all got into a dispute. Like the relationship with the Bears is the same thing.
Right.
Ultimately, we're committed. You know, for us to travel to these games and to give our expertise on a day-to-day basis, whether it be via X, whether it be, through the social media platform, and with our lenses, see the things that we know that would work and give us sustained success. And hopefully, the more and more we put it out there in the atmosphere, the coaches that we have on the staff will pick it up and say, you know what, man, Coach T is right. We run these plays, these concepts with these formations. We could get some success versus a team like Detroit, which I think Detroit has a top 5 running defense. So we're going to have to mix it up and add some wrinkles to get them off the spot.
Yeah, we're going to get into the X's and O's and the matchup and the strategy kind of part of this in a second. But I want to take a step back to what you were talking about. And I believe this is what I want to really garner from having you on the program, because you're just not a casual fan, bro. You listen, you are in there. And if anybody y'all don't follow Will, you know what I'm saying? Will is usually at the games, and part of the VIP experiences, he usually has contact with the players and some coaches in certain situations prior to the game. When I say he's a true Bears, not only a hardcore Bears fan, but a Bears insider. And listen, I'm gonna say this live on air. What I want to do with Will probably in the future, man, instead of him taking cute and nice pictures with the fans, maybe give us a little clip of an interview as he taking these pictures, say, hey, you know what I'm saying? How you feeling prior to the game? Start giving us a little intro video prior to the game. But you're right there with him. You were right there with him last week in New Orleans prior to the game. What was the vibe? What's the feeling? What's that like? Bring the fans in on that experience of what players are really like and being that close to players, up close and personal like that.
Well, the vibe is that they're human just like us. They got emotions just like us, and they want to win just like us. So they want to be in a position to be successful and have the sustained success that we talk about on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month. And they want to bring back that prestige of what the organization truly stands for. A charter franchise that really opened the doors for every other franchise over the past 100 years to come in and establish some of the level of success that we've had over a century. So to talk to these guys and interact and engage with them. And I got family with them as well. So we'll talk about that because, I try to keep a lot of stuff under wraps. But it's like when you talk to everybody and everyone's on the same page, they want to win. And you got to think about something, T. The team is relatively young. If you look at under 25, I would say probably 25 and under, it's a good 70-80% of the roster. So you're dealing with kids that for a year or two out away from college, away from mom and daddy, different experiences in the city, the adjustments of being independent on your own, managing, your day-to-day practice, your personal experiences. So when you look at everything that they have to manage, in addition to going out here putting a great product on the field, to be able to have these conversations and give them some wise words and give them some insight on how to have sustained success, it's a great ordeal.
Yeah, I think a lot of times with the fans, man, and y'all let me know if y'all hear any popping or crackling on the live feedback. Shout out to my guy Bear Media Co. If you can let me know, bro, if you're hearing some popping and crackling. I had that on my last show. But to bring fans in and remind them of the human experience that comes along with these young players. They're essentially, you know what I'm saying? A lot of the players, the same age as my children. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to date myself, but you know what I'm saying? I got kids in that age range, and we forget about that. We forget about the human experience. We treat them a lot of times like commodities. If they're in our fantasy football league, or if we choose to bet on games, we treat them like commodities, and we forget about the human experience related to a lot of these young bulls, pun intended, out here on the court, and we don't forget about that. And I think that's a unique perspective that you provide. Being somebody, he said it's popping a little bit, but not bad. I appreciate you bearing with me, Co. I'm gonna try and straighten this out. I'm trying not to move around so much, but it's important to bring them in on the experience and let them know. Listen, you first time, like you said, first time out of college. You know what I'm saying? Away from home. A lot of them getting married young, coming to a new city, having to buy real estate for the first time, manage big contracts and finances for the first time, manage navigating a new city. Every city, you know what I'm saying, has its parts. It's not safe to go certain places and do certain things in certain parts of cities, understanding the nightlife, what to get caught up with, who to look out for, you know what I'm saying, watching out for the vultures. That's all part of the football fan and coaching experience, because I remember my times in Florida, man. It was bigger, and I talk to my wife about this all the time. It was bigger than just what I did on the sideline, and actually preparing her for when I eventually go back, to letting her know that's truly a lifestyle. Like, we really become de facto parents to these kids, because it's just not what you do between the lines, man. A lot of the kids in Florida, bro, they was living together, didn't have parents in the house with them. So I appreciate that perspective, man. Like I said, I'm hoping to get some interviews from you. You know what I'm saying? Shoot them joints on the invite and send them in, man. We can make them part of the gig right here, man. But I appreciate having a perspective. Now, let's talk about some schematics. Let's talk about some X's and O's. And listen, don't hold back. I know it's Coach T on the program, but it's all about hearing different perspectives, right? What I like to do, man, when I look at offensive football, and I'm going to start on the offensive side. We'll probably get into some defensive stuff there too. But what I like to look at it in terms of how I design plays from as you mentioned earlier, from the trenches back. Now, we've actually did a lot of shuffling throughout the season. We got, Lucas Patrick in there at center now. Now we moved Tevin to the right side, and along with Darnell Wright, and we're supposed to get Nate Davis back, and that puts us with Braxton Jones. That puts us in a position where we may have to shuffle again. Now, I gave my position on X or Twitter saying how I think the lineup should go with Nate Davis coming back. What's your perspective? How do you think, and how do you think the lineup should look with Nate Davis coming back?
Well, they say his natural position has always been right guard, but I'm liking the combo I'm seeing with Tevin Jenkins and Darnell Wright on that right side. And I would be more inclined, if I was SEMO, to put Nate Davis on the left side and put old Uncle Cody Whitehair on that pine. Like when you really look at it from the business side, it's like they're looking at it from, okay, we're paying Cody $10 million a year. So that's why they keep running him out there. Well, I hate to say it, but now he needs to become a de facto head coach, or should I say de facto offensive line position coach with SEMO, and start grooming the Jatir Carters and Tevin Jenkins, because let's be honest, and I don't hate to say this, but I really don't think he'll be on the squad next year. I think he's going to be a cap casualty, and I feel like we need to get this continuity solidified now, so that as we finish out the remainder of the year, and look, I haven't given up on this year, just so you know. But as we solidify, because we got to learn how to win, but it starts in the trenches where we can just really mow down the defensive fronts of the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings. So my front would be Braxton Jones, Nate when he come back at left, Lucas at center, and then, like I said, Tevin and Darnell at right guard and right tackle. That's what I would run.
So let's just let you know we aligned on that, because somebody else asked a question out on Twitter X about what should be the interior lineup moving forward with Nate Davis coming back, and we're aligned on that. And y'all know, what I'm saying, what I like to do on the show, I like to tie everything and all of my takes and give you a why schematically of why it works, right? So think about this, and this is what I thought about at the time. I was like, man, I got to talk about that on the show. If we keep Tevin at right guard along with Darnell Wright, you think about the level of help. A lot of times in our blocking schemes, we don't require, or we don't use a whole lot of singularly 5-man protection a lot of the time. Our offensive line historically has needed to add a running back and a tight end to the protection plan to keep the quarterbacks upright. So if you go ahead and lock down that right side with Tevin and Darnell, you don't have to worry about helping that side of the line as much. I know we got a rookie right tackle out there, but I feel more comfortable as a coach with Tevin next to him and him playing, understanding that I got a bully next to me. I got a dog next to me. And if I get myself in trouble, here's somebody that can help me out to the inside. So even with that, if I lose to the inside, not the outside, right? So if I'm the offensive coordinator, I'm not sending as much help to that side in my game plan that week. I can focus on the left side where Nate and Braxton is, and then send your tight end, your running back to the left side only, right? And you help Braxton out. And he may have a bad day with the bull rush that day, but at least you're only focused on that side. But also it allows you to evaluate Braxton and see if he's the tackle of the future, or if we need to go in and draft one of these high picks for Shumu. I want to get the name for Shunu or Joe Alt coming. What's your thoughts on that position specifically, Joe? I know we need a center, and I know we're looking at left tackle, and I'm going to be keeping an eye on the game tape for the next few weeks. But what are your thoughts on those particular positions?
Well, and I think over the next 7 games, everybody talk about the quarterback position, but we need to really evaluate the left tackle position, because as of right now, I'm definitely earmarking one of those first-round draft picks on either Olaf Ashanu or Joe Alt to give Justin a premier left tackle. And to me, it takes care of 2 positions of need, a premier left tackle, and it gives us a swing tackle, because Larry Borum, he's been serviceable. But if you go back and look at the All-22, look at the tape, I know when Justin was in against the Commanders, he really saved Borum, probably on 5 or 6 sacks, a bunch of false starts, just a bunch of penalties and getting beat off the snap, where realistically, he hasn't been a viable option at the position. And then, as you mentioned earlier, I think we're going to trade one of those first-round picks and get a second where we can pick up that center. I think Cedric Van Pran from Georgia.
Yeah, I've heard that name a lot.
I think and I know a lot of people want to pick up a center via free agency, because we do have a lot of salary cap. But, me personally, I could go either way. I want a young center that we can groom, because normally with young centers, they can play center or guard, whichever position we need to play. But then if we get a more seasoned center, since he's the one that's going to be calling protections and controlling the line, that kid, I think down in Miami, I think he's a free agent, O'Connor, I believe. But I think he's at about 60, 70 million from what I saw off of Pro Track, what he was going to be commanding for next year. So if we fix those areas, and oh, by the way, we're going to have to look at tight end, because other than Cole Kmet, Bob Tunyon and Mercedes Lewis, they're 1-year deals. Are we bringing one or two, or both of them back? So
Yeah, we gonna get in that for sure. Like so here's my y'all know I'm always give y'all the reason why. I'm with you on the whole left tackle situation. Like I said, I'll be keeping an eye on Braxton Jones for the next few weeks because he got some nice tests coming up. He got Aiden Hutchinson, right? And if I'm Luke Getsy, you know what I'm saying? I'm Coach Flu. I'm letting him get some one-on-one reps in there, right? He traditionally doesn't have problems with speed rushers, but guys that can go speed to power, you know what I'm saying? It kind of gets him off his square. But the big week is Cleveland week when he goes up against Myles Garrett. If he passed the test, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna stump the table. I'm gonna pound the table for him. Here's the other part. The fans I think need to realize, right? Bro, we gotta draft somebody.
right,
You know what I'm saying? We can't trade out of every position, even positions that we may be good at right now. It look pretty decent at, like left tackle. But if you got a guy, right, that has a ceiling that's much higher than Braxton Jones, don't be cheap. Don't discount shop when you're trying to build a championship football team. And like you said, keep Braxton on the team as a swing tackle. You can go left or right, and your football team still gets better. Out of the two potential draftees, I like Joe Alt. So far, I'm going to tell you, I watched the Foshunu tape against Ohio State. I'm waiting for my guy, I Am Bear Down, to put out the tape of Joe Alt versus Ohio State. I'm going to have to go look at it myself. But I watched Foshunu, and I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I can usually pick up real quick, like, all right, man. And it seemed like his hands is not necessarily agreeing with his feet at the rate you would expect for a guy to be a first rounder. Now, about the center position, right? And anybody that follow me any significant amount of time know I don't like rookies at two positions on the offensive line, center and left tackle. You got the blind side of my quarterback, and you got the guy that's the captain of your offensive line that makes all the calls, that gets everybody in the right position. And in that offensive line room, the center really has to be the dog. You got to be the alpha dog in that room. And usually, you know what I'm saying? Usually, sometimes the young guys come in and they're trying to find themselves. Unless Van Pran getting off the bus as an alpha stud, you know, the guys that got the it factor, unless you getting off the bus as that guy, and you know what I'm saying, you hung like a horse like that, you just, you know what I'm saying, you that dude, then you want to go get your guys a veteran. And if you're going to have to spend money anyway, pay, because that guy has to come in the building, take hold of the offense. And like I said, he got to look those other guys in the eye and be like, all right, I'm him. You know what I'm saying? I got us. I'm the quarterback of this offensive line. I'm gonna make sure we straight as far as the calls. I'm gonna make sure my quarterback is protected. And because you're also responsible as a center, being part of the establishing the locker room culture. It's one of those de facto positions that everybody go to when they're trying to generate. But let's pivot real fast, because a lot of talk about the wide receiver core, right? And you know the name that's thrown out there coming up in the draft, Marvin Harris Jr. I'm on board with him. But we got to figure out what we're going to do with your boy Darnell. And I like Darnell. I like Darnell Mooney, speedster, but we have, you know what I'm saying, we got DJ, Darnell, Tyler Scott. I think Valus is probably going to be out of here. You know what I'm saying? If not, we all going to be looking at him cross-eyed. We're going to be looking at the organization and the staff cross-eyed. But what are you really – because I think Darnell is going to be the key decision with that. I think, you know what I'm saying, Marvin Harrison Jr. is a shoe-in, right? It's a no-brainer pick. If he's there, take him. But then what do you do with Darnell Mooney? Do you sign him to a long-term, big-time contract?
when you look at production, which, you know, it's unfortunate that he hasn't had the type of production in a contract year, you know, it's really hard to say, I'm going to give Darnell 4 years, $70 million. So if we have him on a hometown discount, you know, I would say something like 4 years, $44 million, something like that. I'll bring him back, because ultimately we'll have Marvin Harrison Jr. on a rookie deal, and I'm like with a wide receiver room of DJ Moore, Marvin Harrison Jr., Darnell Mooney, Tyler Scott, and for whatever reason, I kind of like Bayless. I just feel like Bayless could be our Debo Samuel if given the right opportunity. Now, granted, like he's made some horrible plays. We all know that. And for his age, his value is slowly fleeting. So if we cut him, do we bring back Equinemius St. Brown on a 1-year deal? Or do we pick up, one of these other guys that's getting ready to come out that'll probably drop in the first round or second round? Because I like Keon Coleman. I like Neighbors out of LSU. All those guys going in the first round. So the wide receiver core draft, for the most part, for the areas that we're looking at, X position, Y position, we should be able to get 2 good quality receivers. Because let's be honest, you and I both know that Ryan Poles is probably going to pick up an additional 4 or 5 draft picks this year.
All right, yeah, he's going to get more picks.
With those first 2-round picks that we have. So, I can see Marvin Harrison Jr. being number 1. And I hate to say it's going to probably make some people upset. But, hey, that's a position of need high on our depth chart that we need to bring in and add to our offensive chessboard, where everybody now can't single up and double up DJ Moore.
Yeah.
And I think like what we envision for this year with Claypool, Mooney, and Moore, we'll truly have that with Moore, Mooney, and Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, I think, like you said, man, Marvin Harrison Jr., if he's there with the first pick, and I struggle with that one as I seen different, surveys out there. Should we select him? I think if he's there, you got to select the kid because you have an additional first round pick. Of course, our dream scenario is Arizona try and come up and get that first pick and give us both of their first round picks, and we end up with 3 first round picks. That would be our dream scenario. That would be the fleece of fleece. I don't know how you would unseat Ryan Poles as the GM of the century if he pulls that off. If he's able to get both of Arizona's first round picks, right, and flip that and make it 3 first round picks for us a year or multiple picks down the road, whatever he chooses to do with that. I don't know how he doesn't become GM of the century. The question for Arizona in that situation, I don't mean to change topics, is what do they do with Kyler Murray, especially starts winning? But I'm not gonna go. I'm gonna let you comment on that in a sec, but I don't want to open that Pandora because when you start talking draft, man, it can go so many different ways. But I want to say something. Listen, I've been very empathetic and patient with Velus Jones, and it's not as a result of the last game because I don't think Luke Getsy should have put him in that position to throw the screen on that certain play in that particular time. I think there's smart ways you can get him the ball. Let him do his thing on special teams, not punt return, definitely kick return. But when he came to the team, I originally envisioned him as a Debo Samuels type player, somebody get the ball on jet sweeps. The problem schematically, again, with players like Velus Jones Jr. and Equinemius St. Brown. Velus Jones Jr. comes into the game, and I'm a defensive coordinator. I'm alerting on him for the jet sweep to get the ball. I'm alerting that it's a dead giveaway because they're not really trying to throw him the ball deep or on screens. They're trying to hand him the ball. Same thing with Equinemius St. Brown. He comes in the game. I'm alerting that it's a run because what does he do well? He blocks. Now, to your point about the draft and drafting multiple wide receivers, here's the benefit of that, especially if you get a bunch of good guys, a couple good guys. Marvin Harris Jr. and another guy that's potentially a good wide receiver. You get guys that can do multiple things. They're just not one-trick ponies. And just like we talked about with the tackle position, your football team gets better. You create more competition. You require the Veluses, the Equinemiuses, or whoever's on that roster. They realize, all right, bro, I got these young bucks coming in. I got to step up. I got to show I can do more than one thing for this football team now. So we're going to shift. We're going to pivot real fast. to the wide receiver ish position. Because you brought up the tight end positions. You brought up Tanya Mercedes Lewis on 1-year deals, as well as Cole Kmet. Cole is locked in. I'll give you my take first and let you know what I think about this. I like Tanya. I like what he does for us in 12 plus personnel, and I like Mercedes Lewis. I like both of them. I'm a fan for what they do in when we go 12 plus personnel. We go to our 12 package, 13 package, 22 package, or more. Our heavy personnel. I like, especially Mercedes. I know he's getting long in the tooth, but bro is a dog up there blocking. What you think? What you think about them tight ends? What we do going forward with them?
Look, I talked to Mercedes down in New Orleans, and I said, Mercedes, like, look, how have you maintained 19 years of just year in, year out, coming to the job with your lunch pail? And he said, just being mentally sound. And I thought about it. It makes sense. You know, because think about it, on a day-to-day basis, you got to be mentally sound to stay sane when all odds are against you, when things aren't going right.
Right.
It's so easy to be like one of the other players that we shipped down to Miami to start just being emotionally uncontrollable, regardless of what the situation is. So once you're emotionally mature, you understand year in, year out how to eat right, how to treat your body right, things like that, then I can see how 19, almost 20 years later, you still playing at a high level. And the reason why I like him as well, like I said, he adds veteran presence because we have very few veterans in that locker room. So let's be honest, DJ Moore, he leads with play on the field. Justin leads with play on the field. They're not rah-rah guys that's gonna get up and galvanize the group and say, look, we need to execute better. Like I don't know if you looked at that video I sent you from back in 06 when we played the Cardinals and Lovie Smith had Reuben Brown break them down at halftime, and then they went out there and did what? They came back off the defensive side and won the game. Like who do we have to really just send those chilling messages down those kids in the locker room and say, look, don't give up. Execute. Yeah. You execute. We already got a small margin of error for play. So if you execute, you be detailed, more than likely, you're going to win your rep. And if we all 11 winning our reps, it gives us a great chance and high probability to win the game.
Yeah.
And though his blocking, like when I watch him because if he gave us more in the passing game, I would say, look, let's ink him to at least another 1-year deal. But
talking about Tevin?
Tanya, he misses.
Tanya.
When Blasingame went out with the concussion, they had him in the fullback position. He whipped on a couple of blocks against the Panthers. He whipped on a couple of blocks. So it's like, that's what I'm saying. If we miss out on one of those tackles, Brock Bowers, depending on where our pick finishes in the first round, and we don't trade it, Brock Bowers, because let's be honest, Cole is more of a inline blocker. You know, he's not a Travis Kelce type. So we really need him on the line to be a de facto tackle, chip, things like that. But somebody like Brock Bowers, that boy's a monster.
Sophisticated Thought said, Coach, you got to go do your scout research on Terrence Ferguson, tight end out of Oregon. Definitely would check him out. I like our guys, but to your point, right? Your player availability affects how you game plan, how you're able to call a game for your offensive coordinator. That's like, and somebody asked a question in another show, should we have pulled a fullback up from the practice squad? You know what I'm saying? You never know with those guys what you want to give. You put them in live fire, and we tried to put Tony back there at fullback. For me, the style of play for this football team and how we need to play, we need a fullback. We need a guy, whether it's Corey Blasingame, so that's a no-brainer for me. Bring him back. But if we can get a hybrid guy that can play tight end and then also move back as a backup fullback, you absolutely do that. And you secure this football team. And last but not least, man, I know you've been itching to get to this. I'm itching to get to it because, like I said, I want to cover all positions before we really honed in on the quarterback position. Now, listen, my macro level take is been the same, and I've been consistent for weeks about this, right? I don't believe we're going to see the best of either of these quarterbacks, Justin or Tyson Bagent, until Luke, either one, matures as a game planner, installer, game planner, and game day play caller, and or we replace him. I want to be clear on that, right? I got to be explicit on that so I don't get misquoted. I like Justin Fields, but I don't feel like the Chicago Bears are going to be who they can be until our offensive coordinator grows up, right? I want to start with that. That being said, I still feel like Justin Fields gives us the best chance to win games as a play caller, myself, as a play caller, offensive coordinator myself. He gives you more things you can do, but I know the headache that it creates for defensive coordinators. There was a time when we off the defenses, our opponents played man coverage versus Tyson Bagent, and y'all know that's a no with Justin Fields, because if you get DBs running with their back to the quarterback, he gonna house that thing. He
Yes,
off
sir.
to the races. You cannot play man. You cannot play man coverage. Yeah. So go ahead and give me your take on the quarterback situation. I kind of know how you feel, but let's get into it.
Well, like I said, ultimately, like you just hit the nail on the head. Like everybody, starting with Green Bay, everybody came out with cloud zone, man zones, or just overall cover two, whatever the case may be. They weren't playing man. They was running more defensive end contained. So ultimately, I think now, if defense is going to do that, which I'm pretty sure a lot of them still going to try to implement that same game plan, I think these past 4 weeks has given Justin time to really sit and mentally prepare, go through mental reps. And I don't know if you saw the film yesterday, but even his dropbacks are looking more cleaner versus the lackadaisical 3-step, 5 steps we were seeing. Everything's looking, and I want to see it in more game time live situation, which we will see in Detroit, more game time situation, that now he's going to be more aggressive. And if the first read, second read's not there, I do foresee him taking off or throwing the ball away and coming back to play another day. So with his arm talent, I foresee him coming back and really being special and getting DJ involved and getting darn. If we see some of the same similar play calling that we saw with Tyson in the game, the boots, the waggles, the play action, there's no reason why Justin shouldn't thrive. The 12 to 13 man personnel, just flipping up step wise. If instead of just seeing empty sets, if we see a lot of that, I'm telling you, Justin's about to take off.
You in my back. You in my bag right there, right? You in my bag right there, because I can't emphasize it enough, man. And fans, listen, by the way, if y'all watching this on the playback, do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, man. Let's get these numbers up, man. I love to have the dialogue on here, but I don't think fans enough understand that style of play matters, right? And I'm glad I mistakenly skipped over the running backs, because that's going to be part of this take too. It's going to be part of this take with the running back situation. But I don't think fans understand enough about style of play and the fact that style of play matters to a football team, particularly our football team, because it's such a young football team. It's a young football team in terms of cohesiveness, playing together, but it's a young football team in terms of age, right? And style of play matters, right? You have to play with Justin Fields right now. You have to play a heavy 12 plus personnel group. It's 12, 13, 21, 21 personnel group, is because of the lack of continuity we've had on the offensive line, because you have to use additional tight ends to help with the blocking schemes. And the best friends of any quarterback is a good running game, right? So if you're pounding the opponent via the running game, right, and then you're allowing your offensive line to come off the ball and be attackers instead of them being teed off on, that gets their oil flowing and gets them into the game. But the other part of that is thinking about our defense, right? And we also have a young defense that doesn't have the level of continuity, and they are young in age and experienced defense. You keep them off the field. That's how you help your young football team as an offensive coordinator. Go 12 plus personnel, control the clock, keep that young defense rested so when they come off the bench, they can play with their hair on their fire. This is a, you know what I'm saying, high pursuit type of team. They got to run. The emphasis from the coaches, be able to run, hustle, get to the ball. Well, guess what? You're not going to fly to the ball if you're on the field a bunch of plays. And to your point, Will, this is why you don't go a bunch of empty sets, 11 personnel out of gun, because guess what happens when Luke gets in the habit of doing that? You have a bunch of 3 and outs. And I'm thinking particularly in this situation, the most latest situation was the fourth quarter of the New Orleans game where we had a chance to tie the game up. If you go back and watch the tape, he went empty, heavy 11 personnel out of gun and tried to throw the ball. It's 3 and out, defense back on the field. And the math I give is this. If I have 3 offensive series of 3 and outs, that's 9 plays. If my opponent drives the ball down the field for 3 scores on 12 play drives, that's 36 plays. That's 9 versus 36. Our young defense can't take that. They're not mature enough to be able to hold up. So I'm not making excuses for Justin Fields or saying, oh, the offense coordinator has to curtail the offense to his style of play just for saying it. That's the formula for winning, is win Denver, right? And it shows the amount of 11 personnel we used, right? The first 3 games, we were heavy 11 personnel, one of the top 11 personnel teams in the league. Denver, we started creeping down 11 personnel. Washington was the most we used heavy personnel, and we played our best game, right? We crept up towards Minnesota, came back down versus Las Vegas, right? So there's a formula to Luke Getsy's winning, and it's what you said, Will. He has to play or call a New Orleans style, Las Vegas style, Washington and Denver style game, right? It's the style or the play style that we need to play with, right? And I'm going to add the running back to this conversation because the question on X or Twitter was this: should we go with and keep Deontay Foreman in there because he has a hot hand as Khalil comes back? Or should we allow Deontay Foreman to keep balling? And this is my concern, Will. This is my concern. If Khalil comes back, there's a certain style of play that goes along with Khalil. Yeah, Khalil might be averaging 5.3 yards per carry, but Khalil is a inside-outside zone out of gun. He's not a between the tackles guy. And if we put Khalil back in, I'm telling fans to be ready for this. If he goes back in as the starter, it's going to change what Luke Getsy likes to do with Khalil because Khalil has a style. The style that fits this football team a little bit better is Deontay Foreman pounding it between the tackles and clock control. That's the why of my take. I'm all ears. I know I said a lot, but I'm all ears.
No, you're right. That's the identity, to pound the rock. And like, honestly, the best one to do it between the tackles is Deontay Foreman. Like Khalil Herbert's more of an outside zone scheme run, cut back.
Sweet toss.
Yeah, sweet toss, things like that. So
sweet toss, screen.
Right. So at the end of the day, me personally, I'm gonna stick with Foreman because he does give us the best opportunity to, like I said, wear down that defensive front. Because I watched the Chargers Lions game and I was just trying to watch how they were attacking the Chargers and how the Chargers attacked them. But at the end of the day, man, like the Lions, they run D was stuffing Eckler. And quite frankly, the Chargers are more of a screen type team. They're not built up front like we are with Maulers, with the Wrights and the Tevin Jenkins. Like those guys are designed for that style and that fit. So me personally, look, I'm running Foreman back out there. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah. Hey, your boy. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, Cornelius say that Detroit play the same style. They do.
He cooking. I wanted to get to his comments because that's how I envision it. Right. if you look at Detroit, they hammer you, and they come with Gibbs, and he's your changeup back. And that's what you look again. You want to get your offensive linemen lathered up, and you want to get them firing off the ball and get them into the game playing power gap football. And you bring, and I've said this for almost 2 years now, you bring Khalil in as your change of pace back after the offensive line has worn the defensive line out and the linebackers out about pounding them. Listen, I've been on the field and I've been on the sidelines. You don't want to then have to chase high. You don't want to have to chase a guy to the sidelines on a toss sweep like Khalil Herbert. Leave him in your change up back, and make him have to play both styles is what I'm getting at with Cornelius's taking that. I agree with you 1,000% on that. Pound him first with Foreman, and then come back with your guy Khalil as your change of backs, and then as the game goes, you let them shuffle, but understand, hey, when I got this guy in, I'm coming this way. I got this guy in, I'm coming that way. You know what I'm saying? And then also, Khalil is your third down back. He actually has the statistically has gotten better at pass pro. So as your third down back, you don't know what you're going to get when he's in there because he can block now. So he might be in for a true pass play, but he might be in for a screen. You never know. He gives you a little bit more on third down. So I'm hoping they do both. I just don't want them to, again, I don't trust Luke enough to say, hey, if I put Khalil in there, he's not going to get 11 personnel empty happy and start trying to, turn Justin into Aaron Rodgers. And, you know what I'm saying, 70% of our plays, 73% is passes like early on in the season, right? That you can't play ball that way. That's not, you know what I'm saying? I hate to beat that dead horse, but you know what I'm saying?
Hey, that dead horse did beaten because we saw somebody was a sacrificial lamb last night for the Buffalo Bills, and I'm like, he wasn't the one that had 4 turnovers, but desperate times calls for desperate measures.
Right. That's funny. That's funny, right? If you look at that scenario, right, you have a situation where the quarterback's playing bad and they fire the offensive coordinator, right? In a situation where, to me, clearly our offensive coordinator is bad, but we giving them grace to grow, I guess, man. So I don't know, man.
Hey, as far
you know what I'm saying?
If you really go back and look at it, okay, we're 3-7. If you got a competent play caller, at a minimum, we should be 5-5. At a minimum.
Yeah.
Broncos is 28-7. Look, we keep the foot on the neck. We don't they just lost 70-20 the week before. Like if we got to score 42, and like Bill Belichick say, look, they get paid too. Then you take your foot off the gas.
Yeah.
Against Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
We pound them. Guess what? If we got to go wishbone and run for 350 and throw for 30 yards, guess what? That's a game we should have won because the defense was fine. The defense was. So when you really look at situational play calling on the offensive side of the ball, I think that's the thing that gets me because you don't need to do no cute plays, no trick plays. If we firing off downhill, you keep doing that until they stop it. You ain't got to get cute. You ain't got to you ain't got to change. You've warmed down. They are showing you that they can't handle that the mammoths that we got off the line firing off the ball.
Let me play
and lose 5 yards.
Let me play devil's advocate because somebody. I just thought of a Bears DIY media commentator. I'm putting his hat on. I'm not gonna call him out, but I'm gonna put his hat on for a second because this is one of the arguments I always get hit with from him. If you're the Bears and you have to, by the way, he's made the same take last night as I watched on the playback, and it kind of annoyed the crap out of me. So I'm gonna go with the take. I'm a mention the take, and then I'm gonna kill the take all in the same time, right? But I'm gonna play his role. If you're the Bears, you have to evaluate what Justin can do in year 3. So this is the reason why you come out and sling the ball all over the yard. What do you say to that? Because that's one of his main arguments as to why we shouldn't play a certain style of ball with Justin, because we have to evaluate what we have. And in his understanding of how football goes, the way to evaluate a quarterback's play is to have him sling the ball all over the yard. What is your thought process on that?
My thought process when I hear that, to me, is some underlying saying that, one, he doesn't anticipate well, he doesn't go through progression well, he can't read a defense. So, but in the grand scheme of things, when you're running an offense, the way we've always been designed as a run team first, defense, and then the passing game complements that. Now, I know we're in a more passing league, but I think Justin has shown time after time, when given protection, that he can carve it up with the best of them. If I'm not mistaken, at the time he got hurt, I think he was like first in passing touchdowns when that happened. So when other aficionados are speaking in terms of him being the quarterback, they're talking traditional in the pocket, getting the ball out real quick, going through progressions, anticipations, and things like that. Which again, if you go back all the way to Kennesaw, Justin's been a big game hunter, and his style of play doesn't truly fit what a lot of the pundits are used to seeing. Whether it be Aaron Rodgers, whether it be Peyton Manning, whether it be Tom Brady, wherever the case may be. Because when you look at a Lamar Jackson, the style of play, to me, that's the perfect. That's and watch how Justin takes off. And I think Justin will continue to grow. And when people keep saying year 3, and I get that, but can you really count year 1? Can you really count year 2 based off?
That's the part they don't do, Will. They don't. They like to throw. I hate that year 3 argument, bro. The Nagy year and the tank year the Nagy year and the tank year with no talent around him, and the kid almost breaks an NFL rushing record. To me, that is not what we're doing. And then to see how dramatically Luke tried to change the offense at the beginning of the season. You know what I'm saying? Chase Claypool said it in the presence. He changed the scheme. And on tape, when I look at it schematically, he did. He came out the beginning of the season and said, "Oh, I got all these toys. Now I'm trying to sling the ball all over the yard as if I had Aaron." No, you should have ramped the offense up, started with what you did well last year, and then slowly integrated that stuff into the system, right? But here's my opinion on evaluating a quarterback by simply sitting back there in empty sets, 11 personnel, and trying to gun the ball all over the field, right? And you made mention of, reading defenses. I hate that stupid cliche we use on Bears Twitter and X, because it lets me know people don't know what they're talking about. When you're talking about an NFL quarterback not being able to read defenses, any high-level high school quarterback knows how to come up to the line of scrimmage, count the number of safeties, look at the corner depth, right, and leverage, and understand what a coverage is, especially if you give them motion and you don't play quarterback at the level Justin has played, right? Georgia, Ohio State, winner of Elite 11. He knows how to recognize coverages. Stop using that stupid trope or cliche, you know what I'm saying, knowing how to read defenses. People say stuff to try and sound football smart on social media, and it lets me know you don't know what you're talking about, right? Now, if you tell me he's not picking up on disguise coverages as quick as others, then I would say that's a good take, because disguise coverages are hard to pick on. If you showing me single high safety cover 3 pre-snap and then you rotate out into a disguise cover 2 zone, that's hard for anybody in the first year. Listen to me. In the first year of a particular offensive passing scheme, right? So, you're trying to hit a moving target while pieces are okay. The static play is I know where my wide receivers are going to be, but when the defenses start disguising stuff and moving safeties around, anybody's going to struggle with that. And to people's point, Patrick Mahomes said, "Man, it was year 3 or year 4 before I learned how to okay." Y'all showing me single high safety, but I know y'all rotating into a too high cloud coverage, a too high cover 2 zone. That part is hard, right? The other part of this tape that people don't recognize, people don't recognize their implicit bias when they talk about today's modern quarterback versus traditional passing quarterbacks, pocket quarterbacks. We've moved into the dual quarterback era in the league. I want y'all in the comments to name me how many traditional pocket quarterbacks are left in the league. We don't have many. Everybody's mobile. Josh Allen can run. Patrick Mahomes, somebody tried to label as a pocket quarterback. To me, he's not a pocket quarterback. He's a dual threat. He scrambles horizontally instead of vertically. So he uses the width of the field. So instead of Patrick scrambling down the field, he'll run towards the sideline and look for somebody down the field to still throw the ball to, right? You might have Joe Burrow and your boy in New England. There's very few. Justin Herbert. There's about 3 to 5 traditional pocket passers left. The league is evolving.
That style of quarterback, which again, I can understand if you take a lot of hits, you got to protect yourself. Because as you can see, Justin gets absolutely no calls, whether he's in the pocket or whether he goes 5 yards, 50, it doesn't matter. And he takes a lot of shots that the refs just turn a blind. That's the only thing at this point, taking all the sacks and taking all these hits that really worries me with Justin, because ultimately, just like with anything, Michael Vick, as he got older in his career, Randall Cunningham, they became strictly pocket quarterbacks. They still had
but they understand, right? You evolve when you have the ability. Yeah, you have the access of both your legs and your arm. You evolve into that anyway. Naturally, you're gonna realize, and you're gonna see the game differently as you get more seasoned. But also, we got to stop pretending. We got to stop acting like the Lamar Jacksons, the Justin Fields of the world. They're built like Tom Brady. They built like Aaron Rodgers. They're much better athletes. They have better physiques. And even if they got to mix it up with safeties and DBs from time to time, they're built to be able to take a lot of those hits that in the past would have broke some of these other quarterbacks up. Again, man, the league is evolving. I want people to get off of this is the 2010s. This is 2005. This not that anymore, bro. These players are coming in with better nutrition, better weight training programs, the whole nine, and they're able to take a lot of these hits that, you know what I'm saying, some of the traditional pocket passing quarterbacks couldn't be. So you had that take. You treat him like a porcelain doll, and then you put him back there, and you know what I'm saying, he can't get touched and all this other stuff. Or I'm not going to run zone read with him because I don't want him to take that. Screw that, bro. Run. Listen, if I'm if I'm 1st and 10 to go to score, I don't care who you are. I'm calling zone read because you get an additional, when the quarterback becomes a runner, you get an additional player that you have an advantage. Again, there's certain things defense can't do to you. I've kept this up, Julian Parker, because I like to take, man. Because I think we talked about the age of the players before. Me and Will did. And I think this is something that Justin has to evolve into. As he self-actualizes as a quarterback, a man and an NFL player, you get to take on Justin is a military brat. Son of a Marine. I'm a retired Marine myself, right? Shout out to all our veterans, by the way. Will's a veteran, by the way, too. But listen, he's a son of a Marine. Justin is going to follow orders. He's going to do what he's told. He's not gonna circumvent chain of command and all that other stuff. But at some point, Justin does have to look over that sideline and be like, "Hey, what did Luke just call? Oh hell no! Nah. Listen, this is what we're gonna run, fellas. You know what I'm saying? Blah 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 blah. But he got to evolve into that. He can't. You know what I'm saying? But I just wanted to lead that up because I agree with the take on that. We have to evolve in that. As I get to some of these other comments, Will, let's shift over to the defense, man. And let's start with our new acquisition, man. Your boy Montez Sweat, man, the high price. Hey, they broke the bank on that one a little bit. The high priced edge rusher out of Washington. We traded for prior to the deadline. I like what your boy put on the field versus Carolina and what he did in New Orleans. What was your thoughts on this play?
Yeah, I think Tez is going to be a multiplier. He's a force multiplier because we got 3 sacks. He had 7 pressures, but he also opened it up for Unique. I think our boy Justin Jones, he made a cameo appearance. He earned his game check. And even Rasheem Green earned his game check and got a sack. So, I think his presence is going to really elevate the rest of the line. But I do want to see more of our law firm and Pickens and Dexter, because I feel like, look, if Dexter hits and we get another tackle, defensive tackle 3 tech, either in the draft or via free agency, and get another edge, Brian Burns or line 1, please, because we got the money. Come on and see us. The defense will be straight.
Yeah. I like listen, matter of fact, I like Pickens and Dexter. I actually picked them prior to the draft to come to Chicago simply off their ability to run the ball. Stop the run and move the line of scrimmage. I didn't look at anything pass rush related because I was thinking the level of, again, where we were at a football team, we couldn't just jump straight to, oh, I just got these guys that just dominate in the run. Just get straight to the passer, blowing people back. We were so bad at stopping the run, right? We were so bad at stopping the run last year. We wasn't readjusting the line of scrimmage or moving the line of scrimmage that I just look for guys that move the line of scrimmage, and I pick Pickens and Dexter. And if you look at this defense, the macro level is this. We want to amongst the top 5 in the league and stopping the run in the league, and we gotta give credit to Coach Flus. I don't know what he did. He hit the switch because I don't think you get that out of Allen Williams. I don't think, you know what I'm saying? You get a top 5 run stop defense, and again, it goes back to style of play. If I'm looking at this on a macro level, we have a good running game. All of our backs average over 4 yards per carry, and we can stop the run by all intensive, all measurements, all measuring sticks. That's usually how you play playoff football. You run the ball, you stop the run, and then you build on top of that, right? And if we can stick to that style of play, I think we can get some things done with your boys up front. Who else up there in that defensive line you think can step up over the next 7? How many games we got left? 6, 7? Over the next 7 weeks or so, and get us to the promised land. Start getting home where we feel like we end the season on a climb.
Well, first and foremost, we got to give Drew Billings his just due, because at the end of the day, I think he was a key integral piece in establishing that base where the run defense really got solidified. And then after we just added Ted Sweat, now I want to sit back and I want to evaluate Dominique Robinson, but he's been a healthy scratch the last 2 weeks. And Khalid Kareem, who we got to trade with the coach when we cut Gibson and cut the guy from Alabama. What was his name? That I think he signed with the Saints. He had like 3 sacks in preseason. What was his name? Dang, I can't believe I forgot.
Spence?
No, the defensive end that we had. He wore number 52.
I see the number, not seeing remembering.
Yeah, he's from Alabama, but it'll come to me. But like Khalid Kareem, I want to see what we got in these guys, because ultimately we do need to get an edge. I was high on Jared Verse, but he's been his year with Florida State has been kind of
Terrell
lackluster.
Lewis.
Yeah,
Terrell
Terrell.
Lewis.
That's his name, Terrell Lewis.
Appreciate that.
And Dallas Turner with Alabama, I was expecting to see a 12, 14 sack season out of him, and he's been lackluster. So whereas I want a young pass rusher, we might have to dip back into free agency because I know Chase Young is going to be a free agent, and Danielle Hunter's going to be a free agent, and Brian Burns is going to be a free agent. So again, do we want to sink this money into our edges because those are premium positions? And solidify the interior through the draft. Because if we get that, you saw the kid from Carolina, the one that on pass
that defensive record up in there.
Woo! And they say he's gonna be the most dynamic defensive tackle that we play all year. Like him and Tech was going toe to toe. And one time I saw Luke on his hindsight where he clipped Tevin and man, like
took him for a ride.
Number 95, he was like he had about 6-7 defensive interior pressures by himself. Like if we get a player like him, Flukes might be sticking around.
I see a path, right? I see a path, and y'all, thank y'all for hanging out with us. We got 27 in the chat. Do me a favor, man. Run those likes up, man. I think I just broke another record wheel for a number of people in the chat. So move it. Thanks for your advice on changing platforms. We're going to get all the bugs worked out. But I think I broke another record. People have been telling me move over platforms for a while. But when you get used to a thing, man, I'm telling you, it's hard to change. But I'm glad I did a day and a half worth of work to learn this platform. So I appreciate y'all hanging out with us. 27 in the chat, man. Again, run those likes up. We're trying to reach as many as possible. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, man. I'm on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 Central. Usually on Tuesday and Thursdays when I do Coach T's playbook where I go over the film. But you know what I'm saying? We're working through some technical stuff today, so I'm not going to get into the playbook. But we're just going to talk ball today. And I want y'all also to let you know, listen, I am a Justin Fields supporter because I think he's the best situation for the Bears right now. But I also like Tyson Bagent as the backup. I believe in our quarterback room, we have two really good players that are having to overcome the offensive coordinator and his level of maturity right now. And I think I heard a great analogy about our level of experience, head coach, coordinator, and player. It's like you got a baby overseeing a baby as it comes to our level of experience, head coach, OC, and players. We got inexperienced team, inexperienced offensive coordinator, inexperienced head coach, and it's all making for visible mistakes in front of the world and everybody, and we got to looking a little bit crazy. So, but also, I also want the fan base to know, at least my followers to know, listen, I break down the film. Listen, I do hours of film study throughout the week. When I'm not actively engaged in meetings at work, I'm going over the film. I got the film up right now from the last game, and I'm breaking down this film. Listen, when Justin not doing his job, and there's no logical explanation as to why he's not doing his job, I'm gonna be the first one that was on him. But what do you think about the linebacker core and how they're playing right now?
I think Jack Sandgard is playing. He's playing phenomenal. That was a good pickup.
You say Sandgard.
Yeah, look, he's playing with a lot of intensity. We got to get Jermaine Edmonds back. He was starting. I think he had 2 INTs before he got hurt, and then TJ Edwards. He's been a tackling machine. So I can tell you right now, they're gonna have to have a big game Sunday because Gibbs and Montgomery, man, them boys, man, they getting up to the second unit real quick. So we're gonna need them boys to be coming up out of their breaks quick and ready to lay that hat. And then as we get more penetration, because you know what Jared Goff really kill you at off that play action. So I think this would be a big game because Sandgard could have had a pick last week against the Panthers, but he dropped it. So the scheme that Flus has been calling on defense. That's what we need to see more of on the offensive side. Because like I said, Flus has been cooking with the blitzes. When you like you said earlier about the disguises, like they had Bryce Young at least I know 3 times where we should have had INTs because Tyreek Stevenson, he really dropped 2. Sandgard dropped 1. So the way he was disguising the blitz, the coverages last minute, for pre-snap, like he had the linebackers in position not only to make plays but create turnovers. So like I'm man, right now and moving forward, I'm real high on what we did because at first I was like, man, we spent a lot of money at the linebackers, off the ball linebackers too. But then that type of system, that's the type of flexibility you need in your linebackers that can flow sideline to sideline, drop back in the zone, play the pass, but also play the run. So I think we struck gold on Edmonds and Edwards and Sanborn. So once we get that front 4 straight, it's gonna be on the cooking.
But we gonna be
we're not losers, bro. It ain't no Bear Civil War.
That's what I'm saying, man.
If you make it a Civil War, I love Justin. Yeah. I love Tyson. I met Tyson's father. You know what I'm saying? I met Justin's father. Like, man, look, good.
Hey, you said Tyson's dad was a little bit off the chain, buddy. Man, look, he was a lot. He's a firecracker, huh?
Hey, but he's my type of guy, though. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
he seemed like he's a lot of fun, bro.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you something. He's a lot of fun, bro. Like people misreading. But from talking to him, you know what I'm saying? He's a good guy.
He just want the best for his boy, man.
He want the best for his son. Because think about it. His son, against all odds, Division II Shepherd.
Made it.
Now he on the big stage. Like, who wouldn't be excited and happy for their kid? You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, man.
At the end of the day, he understands his son has limitations. Man, Tyson's a kid, bro. He's still developing.
Right.
Like think about it, bro. The talent that he saw at Shepherd is nowhere close to what he's seeing because those passes that were getting picked off against the Chargers and the Saints, those are completions. Yeah. Those are completions down at Shepherd.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Y'all need to go back. Y'all need to go back and watch the show, man, because listen, I broke it down, bro. There's a read on the kid. You know what I'm saying? He likes to throw the ball to the right flat. I call not only, listen, this is where y'all got to tap in, bro, because y'all think I'll just be out here talking. Not only did I call where he was going to throw the interceptions to, I called the formation he was going to throw the interceptions out of. I said, we're going to be in empty formations. Go back and take a look at it. 2 weeks in a row, I said, he's going to be in empty formations, right? Or he's going to be in 11 personnel in the guns. He's going to throw an interception to the right flat. And 2 weeks in a row, he did it. Because there's a read on the kid. This is the NFL. But I'm gonna make this take and I'm gonna get us out of here. Because out of empty formation, this is why I told y'all to pay attention to the details. Because if y'all remember the empty formation that Justin refused to throw the ball, y'all was like, everybody's like, why ain't he letting it go? Why ain't he letting it rip? Those are the same empty formations that Tyson ripped the ball and they got picked off. But y'all questioning, y'all saying why Justin holding the ball? Because Justin realizes with my offensive line and I'm a defensive back, I know that they're not going to try and go over my head out of this empty formation. We haven't thrown a deep ball out of empty formation that I can remember all season. So the defense is sitting on that route, and Justin knows that. So my take was this. Justin doesn't trust the offensive coordinator. Tyson trusts him too much and letting them ball rip, and they getting picked off.
Right.
And if you really do the math, you watch it, you pay attention, that's exactly what's going on. It's not the kids. It's not the players, guys. I'm telling you. But anyway, had a great time with you, Will. Listen, bro, I get there early, man. I get there early on Sunday. We hitting the tailgates. We got to find our guy Terrence.
Yeah, Terrence.
We got to find our guy Terrence.
He getting in. So once I hear something, I'll let you know.
Hey, listen, chat, if y'all gonna be in Detroit on Sunday at the game, definitely make sure y'all reach out to us on X and Twitter. Let us know y'all gonna be there so we can link up. I'm not doing my own tailgate. I'm raiding some other Bears tailgates and we just gonna make it like a party, like family. Glad to be in the building. Usually make about 2 or 3 games a year. I ain't no Will Wright out here. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm at, you know what I'm saying, like pretty much all the games, but I try to do my thing. Plus, I'm a married man, you know what I'm saying? And she fine too, so I don't like to spend too much time away from her. But anyway, man, I appreciate y'all checking in with us. We gonna work out the technical difficulties. I apologize we didn't have a playbook today, but we gonna get to it. It ain't gonna be long. Listen, this for Coach T, man. This is my guy Will Wright, man. Bears fans. Hopefully, we get this thing turned around. We up on the up climb. We just gonna keep the positive energy. We're gonna keep, you know what I'm saying? We look. I realize we disagree and stuff like that, but it's like we like family, man. We like brothers. You know what I'm saying? We fight today and then we go get a beer, a piece of pizza tomorrow. It's just like that. But man, Will, I appreciate you hanging out with me today. We got to do this again, man.
Man, look, you just let me know when. If I'm available, I'm down.
Yeah, man. So, hey, y'all cheer loud, cheer proud. We got a division opponent on Sunday. I'll be back on Thursday. I think I got my boy Coach Sean Sierra, the super back on Thursday. So join me Thursday. Now listen, me and Sean be going at it about these X and O's. It's gonna get kind of deep in there on Thursday. But we're gonna be back Thursday with super back Sean Sierra on the program on Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Central. For Will Wright, this your boy Coach T. Listen, thanks for joining us and bear down.
Bear down.